up with our very own Dan Graziano and the NFL crew. Graz, what can you tell us about George Pickens and the Cowboys approaching tomorrow's deadline for an extension?
It still doesn't look like he's going to get one. Stephen Jones and the Cowboys came out in March and said they did not plan to do a long-term extension with George Pickens, that they expected him to play on the franchise tag. He has since said that's his expectation as well. I checked in yesterday on this situation with people close to it, was told no change. Do not expect a long-term extension for George Pickens by tomorrow's deadline.
Oh, boy. Mike T, take us through it. Your thoughts. Is Dallas in for another contract problem this summer?
I don't think so, because he signed the tender. And I'll tell you this, Joe, he could be in line for a massive raise next March. He's 25 years old. He had 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns, 93 receptions. And you think about he's in the prime of his career. So every day he goes out there, guys, it's a job interview for the other 31 teams. If he has back-to-back seasons, he will be well north of $40 million per year.
Let's go out west to the NFC favorites, the Los Angeles Rams. Graz, I'm curious, what are you hearing about Aaron Donald's recent workout at the Rams facility?
Sounds like it was a fact-finding mission for Aaron Donald. Wants to see how he responds to the workout, how he feels about going through the preparations to play another NFL season after so much time away from the game. My understanding is the ball is in Aaron Donald's court, that the Rams would welcome him back if he wants to come back. It's a matter of working out the details. But first of all, he has to decide if it's something he wants to do.
Shout out to TMZ Sports. What do they have to climb a tree to get that footage? Fantastic work there.
Remove a tree.
Bart Scott, do we think we're going to see Aaron Donald back in action this year?
Absolutely. It gets too juicy. He's at the point of his life where he enjoyed the retirement life, but now he wants to be valid. You want to come back and be part of the excitement. The biggest dopamine that you ever can get is from playing football. Nothing gives you that feeling, and now he has an opportunity to win a Super Bowl and playing like this all-star type of defensive line, maybe the best ever. You know, you got Myles Garrett coming in to add to a defensive line that had 47 sacks last year. You just can imagine him getting a bunch of one-on-ones. No more, let's put 3 on Aaron Donald. You have to respect Myles Garrett, who is the better player on the outside.
All right, let's stick with the NFL because something caught my attention yesterday, and I have a feeling it might be polarizing to some. The NFL is unveiling their top 100 list voted on by the players, and yesterday revealed that 2-time MVP Lamar Jackson landed at 69th. He was number 2 on the list just a year ago. Now, he's coming off an injury-laden season, but still had a passer rating higher than 7 of the Pro Bowl or Pro Bowl alternate quarterbacks. Bart Scott, 69th for Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, I mean, it's valid. Listen, like we say, success in this league is rented, not owned, and rents due every day. And the rent wasn't paid by Lamar Jackson last year. And, you know, what you have to ask yourself, can Lamar Jackson adjust to being a pocket passer? Because we didn't see the explosive runs that he had last year. We're accustomed to seeing Lamar Jackson change angles, put defenses in a bind. Guys were tackling him one-on-one in space, and we're not accustomed to seeing that. And then you have to start asking yourself, what version of Lamar Jackson are we going to get going forward? New offensive coordinator, his 3rd one. And then I started doing a deep dive. You know, Lamar Jackson has 1,081 rush attempts. Cam Newton throughout his career had 1,118. Has the wear and tear start catching up with an athletic quarterback? And with an athletic quarterback, can't be as athletic. Is he as feared in this league? And you have to ask yourself that question.
You know, to Bart's point, first of all, I think it's ridiculous that he was 69. But if you have a concern as a Raven fan, to me, what Bart is saying, it also showed up in the number of sacks. He was sacked 36 times last year. That was 13 more than the previous year, and he played in 4 less games. So, look, the offensive line wasn't ideal. He was banged up even in the games he played. I think he's going to have a big bounce back year. But, Bart, to your point, like, the number of sacks is alarming because he is so talented in so many different ways, but elusiveness is certainly one of his better attributes.
1 year ago at this time, with the release of this list, he was number 2. He was ahead of Mahomes. That was just months after we were having the conversation as to whether or not Mahomes was ready to pass Brady for the all-time GOAT in the NFL. Now, 1 year later, he falls from 2nd to 69th. Going back to a year ago, the discussion was about players fearing Jackson. He was number 2 because he was so hard to game plan for. Do you think this is a signal that the league just doesn't fear him anymore?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a signal that they forgot about him because how can you, when Lamar Jackson has played fully healthy seasons for the Baltimore Ravens, they have been Super Bowl contenders, and he has basically been MVP of the league. So what has changed? I think Bart makes a fascinating point about the rush attempts and how they add up over time. You're not going to be able to play like that long term. Yeah. So this is the league. The players in the league are telling you
We know first. We know before
they
the
feel
executives.
it on the field, right?
Yeah, I think that the athletes, the athletes know first. The executives are enamored with the resume. We don't care about the resume. The resume is week to week, year to year, month to month. So when you look at guys sacking him and getting him in space, you're like, whoa, we're not used to Lamar Jackson usually buying time. You talk about these off-schedule plays that we're accustomed to seeing him on his highlight reels. We didn't see any of that. And when you lose that short area quickness, I remember Michael Vick lost his short area quickness. Wasn't the same quarterback. Cam Newton, after the hit started to build up. But also you think about, can he adjust and can the next iteration of Lamar Jackson, he's been in the league going on his 9th year. Can he be that Steve Young guy that used to be a scrambler and off-schedule guy and be a rhythm, on-time type of passer?
Going into his 9th year, still only 29 years old.
Right. But this sets up a fascinating situation. He has 2 years left on his contract. The Ravens talked openly about wanting to do an extension with him this offseason. They did not get that done. You look ahead a year, if this is still the perception of him in a year and he still doesn't have the extension, then what's that extension look like? Is this a guy who heads to free agency at age 31? This is an absolutely fascinating off-field situation, Lamar Jackson's contract status, that isn't getting enough attention.
Another real interesting factor to me is Declan Doyle, their new offensive coordinator, sort of from that Ben Johnson tree. So to Bart, your point, is he going to continue to evolve? Look for more 2 tight ends, 12 personnel. When you do that, that does 2 things. That helps the running game. It also heavies up the protection. So I'm fascinated because I think Lamar is one of these players that will keep iterating and sort of like we'll see a different sort of Lamar Jackson. I think he will be more effective from the pocket. And I think the hiring of Doyle and coming over from the Chicago/Detroit offense is meaningful.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you think we've already seen peak Lamar Jackson?
I mean, when you talk about peak Lamar Jackson, it's when he's a great pocket passer, play action guy. But you talk about with Greg Roman, you talk about Ty Monkey, it was a big RPO game, was a lot that created the separation and the void. You had to have a spy for him. If I don't have to spy Lamar Jackson anymore, then now I put an extra person in personnel. He doesn't have a great number 1 receiver. He doesn't have an A.J. Brown. He doesn't have a Njigba. So now, if I don't have to respect him that way, now I can light him up. Now I can come and send blitzes for him because now guys are tackling him in space. I'm not worried about him with the short area quickness. Happened to Russell Wilson, too. Happened to Ben Roethlisberger in a different way. Ben used to just swat people away, but then he had to learn how to throw from the pocket.
Fascinating to think what has happened in just 1 year's time.
Really
the impression of Mahomes and Jackson, 2 of the most dangerous in the league.
Rented,
now
not
you see
owned.
Mahomes dropping down the list, and Jackson suddenly not nearly as feared. That's going to be interesting to watch, Ross, with the contract situation, because if he waits too long. Now, ESPN surveyed league executives, coaches, and scouts to help rank the top 10 quarterbacks. Jeremy Fowler compiled the article. And for the first time since July of 2022, Patrick Mahomes no longer number 1 on the list. Josh Allen has surpassed him. Mahomes is second, followed by MVP Matthew Stafford, Joe Burrow 4th, Lamar Jackson 5th. Rounding out the top 10, Prescott, Herbert, May, Jared Goff, and Caleb Williams. So let's play a little game of too high or too low. Mike T, we start with you. Give us a quarterback you think was ranked too high.
Caleb Williams, Joe, from Chicago. Look, you can look at his flash plays, and his ability is incredible. I think he'll be there one day. But when you're 28th in the league in completion percentage, you are not a top 10 quarterback yet. I think that'll get better. I think his mechanics will improve. I think his decision-making will improve. But right now, in my mind, the lack of consistency keeps him out of the top 10.
Bart Scott, much like you do on the dance floor, I want you to go low, low, low here. What's a player that's listed too low on the list?
I do that stanky leg. I tell you what, you talk about Matthew Stafford, the reigning MVP. 46 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and he carried a offense and a team on his back at times. Puka Nacua dealing with injuries. You talk about the worst special teams, I think, in the history of football. He almost took this team to the Super Bowl. I think, how can you underrate the MVP? How can he be too low? I think we're giving participation trophies or lifetime achievement awards to Patrick Mahomes because how great he's been over a while. Like I said, it's rented, not owned, and Matthew Stafford has paid the rent to be the number 1 guy in the league.
I see a perplexed look that is known around ESPN as Gross.
3 is too low. He should be 1 or 2. He should be 1. After he threw a pile of 1-yard touchdown passes and lost the 2 biggest games of the year to Sam Darnold. Like honestly, what are we?
Sam Darnold beat everybody.
Matthew Stafford is never underrated. He is always at least appropriately rated and often overrated.
So Patrick Mahomes is the second best quarterback in the league.
Who would you take right now? Who would you take?
I would take Matt today.
You would
Matthew
take Matthew Stafford
for
over
1 year.
Patrick Mahomes.
For
Man,
1 year.
I hope
How much of that
in that draft?
How much of that?
How dare you with ageism? How dare you?
How much of that is due to his knee, though? The fact that he's injured, that's the main reason, right?
Yes, that's the point.
But wait a second. But wait a second.
This ain't playing on Madden.
If you put Patrick Mahomes in that Ram offense with that Ram coaching staff, what do you
Oh
think?
my God, we had the argument about Matthew Stafford, and I've been talking about Matthew Stafford for a decade about he was just in a bad environment, and he goes to a Patrick Mahomes environment who plays with Andy Reid, arguably the best coach, a Hall of Fame coach. Well, of course, environments matter, but you act like Matthew Stafford can't hold the jockstrap of Patrick Mahomes.
I didn't say that.
Matthew Stafford's very good, but after 12
He's the best.
After 12 years in Detroit, the quarterback's job is to elevate the players around him. He's in Detroit for 12 years. Elevated nothing. In 12 years, he was NFC Offensive Player of the Week. One time.
But that was a great week, Dan.
years.
He was
I'm sure it was a great week. He gets traded into the best situation of all time, and all of a sudden he's a Hall of Famer because he wins a Super Bowl and he wins an MVP that Drake May should have won.
And Patrick Mahomes got drafted to the best situation
Great.
any quarterback can ever go to. So, of course, environments matter.
But Bart,
Listen, Detroit, Arizona, Cleveland is where you used to go for your career to die. You go there to steal a couple years and get up out of town.
Who's had better receivers the last 5 years, Mahomes or Stafford?
Say that again?
Who's had better
Well, he's got a Hall of Fame. Travis Swift is out there balling out.
Is there something to be said, though, to Graz's point, not to pile on, but to Graz's point, had the Rams won the Super Bowl or made it to the Super Bowl last year, that'd be something. They didn't even get past Sam Darnold in Seattle.
Well, wait a second. Those
Did
three
you
games
see their
were,
special teams?
Those three games were settled by a total of 7 points. I mean,
in Seattle's favor, though. In Seattle's favor, still at the same time, if you're going to be the number one or two quarterback, shouldn't you be able to win those games?
He was 12-5, no defense. I mean, he lost a game.
I'm not saying he's not good.
He lost a game where the team blocked 2 field goals. Where they do that at?
This is good. This is really good.
I'm not saying he's not good.
This is really good.
You're saying he's not better than Patrick Mahomes. He's the reigning MVP.
What would be the projections on Mahomes' production if he was playing in LA?
Who cares?
Undefeated?
I mean, we playing fantasy world. We making it up.
All right, so let's do this.
He's at where he's at.
I got another one for you because the spirit is that is. I think we might have another one here. Tim Hasselback was on the show yesterday.
Tim's not overrated.
Was critical of where Joe Burrow was ranked. Take a listen to this.
Joe Burrow is too high. In fact, he's way too high. I mean, the fact is, Joe Burrow has been in the league 6 years. He's only started every game, during the regular season 3 times. So right off the bat, the ability to be available, I think, has got to, bring him way down the list. I think that we've elevated him in a way that, quite honestly, with standards that we don't apply to other guys.
Okay, Mahomes getting docked because of the injury. Sure. Understandable. Burrow, though, at 4, given the injury history, what do you think about his ranking?
Burrow not currently injured, I think, is the big reason for that. The injury concern is legit. What Tim raises about the availability with Joe Burrow is the criticism of him. It's one the Bengals have articulated to him and asked him to work on. Better protect himself. Make sure you stay on the field. Because when Joe Burrow is on the field, he is transcendent in a way that other quarterbacks aren't. We saw a guy arrive in Cincinnati with the Cincinnati Bengals and took them to the Super Bowl in his second season. In his first 3 years in Cincinnati, he won as many playoff games as the franchise had ever won total prior to his arrival. He won a playoff game in which he was sacked 9 times against the number 1 seed in the conference on the road. He is one of 2 quarterbacks that has beaten a Patrick Mahomes Chiefs team in a playoff game at Arrowhead Stadium, and the other one is Tom Brady. What we have seen from Joe Burrow when he is on the field is enough to qualify him for the top end of this discussion. If we see him for 16, 17 straight games for 2 or 3 years, I don't even think we're having a conversation anymore about who the best player is.
So you would have him above Matthew Stafford because he's taken a bum team or organization to the Super Bowl.
I would rather have, all things being equal, give me the same roster, I can pick my quarterback, I would pick Joe Burrow, yes.
Burrow over Stafford?
Yes.
Wow.
How do you see it?
Well, look, if everything was equal and it was for 1 year, I would take Joe Burrow. But again, to Dan's point, look, he's 43 and 33 as a starter, which is fantastic given where he's playing. again, durability is a massive part of this job description, and it's how you have to evaluate a quarterback. But if you said if everything was equal and they both had their A game, I'll take.
We don't get to put them out there. Wear and tear is a part of it. Injury,
Turn injuries
durability. Oh yeah, you can't turn injuries off. It matters. And
Early
it's
in
a
his
part.
career, Stafford had that.
Yeah.
He got over it.
All right,
and
Sam
now we're
was-
talking about him like he's,
Now Sam Bradford, he has been that dude since he's went to an organization that's been a well-run organization.
It's funny to watch the pendulum swing on Stafford because during his time in
Right.
Detroit, a lot of
Right.
people felt sorry for him. It was a bad situation. Then he goes to LA. He wins.
Yeah.
So he's
oh
supposed to
no,
the town.
it's not fair for him.
But the thing is, if the Rams
Calvin
were
Johnson.
heavy favorites this
That's
season,
one person.
That's a really
you
good
could see the
person.
narrative.
And his number
Feels
two
like
is Nate
conversations
Burleson.
at once. Feels like two conversations at once here.
Yeah.
Good TV.
Overwhelming.
Last word, Mike T.
Yeah, no, look, they're overwhelming favorites this year. If they don't make it to the Super Bowl at a minimum, playing in SoFi, the narrative could change.
That's exactly where things start to swing. It's on the precipice. They're going to have to close. Coming up, Derby.